Not the right formula to beat the defending NBA champs. OKC takes a 1-0 lead in the best of 7. Game 2 is Thursday night in OKC. A major upgrade in performance needs to happen for the Lakers if things are going to be different in Game 2. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, host of The Voice of Reason, weeknights at 7 p.m. here on KBLA Talk 1580, with a personal invitation for you to join me and Insight.me as we present The Healing Box, live at Inglewood's world-famous Miracle Theater, Saturday evening, May 23rd at 7 p.m. Look, I understand your attachment style has been running your life like a rogue algorithm, and nobody has had the courage to press pause. Until now, Dr. Bakoya McCall and yours truly are curating a night where clinicians, spiritualists, and an all-star panel of Black woman healers like Dr. Shalonda Sunshine Crawford, Dr. Jashana Johnson, and spiritualist Precious McGill will join some amazing spoken word artists and the legendary comedian Louis Dix to diagnose, disrupt, and heal your relational wreckage in real time. Listen, bring your trauma. As a matter of fact, bring your baby mama. No, bring your testimony. And if you're still texting your ex at 2 a.m., baby, you're not just invited, you're the target demo. Tickets are moving fast, so grab yours at themiracleinglewood.com before your dating history gets flagged as a pre-existing condition. That's themiracleinglewood.com. We'll see you there Saturday, May 23rd at 7 p.m.
Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580, download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. It's worldwide, right here on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. We have a number of critical issues, from the Straits of Hormuz to the Voting Rights Act to the behavior of the Trump administration. We won't be stopping there because African American leadership is in turmoil. There is simply no one who could have imagined the consequences or the implications of the overturning of the Voting Rights Act of 1965, which is so pivotal, both personally and existentially, to who we are as Black people. We don't know a world without the Voting Rights Act of 1965. And so it's very uncharted territory, new territory for all of us. At some point in time during the program, Representative Justin Pearson is going to be joining us on the program. I see him in the backstage area. But right now, I want to take the opportunity to introduce my very, very good friend, a mentor, a teacher, a PhD political scientist whose primary areas of expertise are Black politics, American government, and public policy, Dr. Wilmer J. Leon. For 11 years, he was lecturer, teaching associate in the political science department at Howard University in Washington, D.C. Currently, Dr. Leon is a nationally broadcast radio host on Sirius XM satellite radio channel 126, nationally syndicated columnist and regular political commentator on national and international news programs. He's joining us on Worldwide today. Dr. Leon, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
As always, my brother, thank you, and good afternoon to your audience.
Dr. Leon, I don't know many people who have paid as close attention as the significance of really not just the Reconstruction Amendments, the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment, but the implementation legislation of those amendments, the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the Voting Rights Act of 1965, and subsequent public accommodations legislation, the so-called crown jewels of the civil rights movement, along with Brown versus the Board of Education in 1954. Abraham Lincoln once said, "It is important to know essentially where we are, whether we are tending." And I'd like to quote Abraham Lincoln right here when he said, "If we could first know where we are and whither we are tending, we could then better judge what to do and how to do it." Dr. Leon, where are we?
Well, we're heading backwards. We are in a period of, I'd say, white supremacist retrenchment. I tell my students, sometimes you have to interject or inject some of the rules of physics into political science. And on that one, I mean Newton's third law of motion. To every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. And so Donald Trump, for example, I believe the election of Donald Trump was a reaction to the election of Barack Obama, just as one example. So now, as we are looking at these attacks on the 65 Voting Rights Act, what we're seeing is the white supremacist reaction to African Americans demonstrating some flex in our politics. And what's really amazing to me about this is, from a policy perspective, from a legislative perspective, the Congressional Black Caucus hasn't really put anything on the table that's that revolutionary, that dramatic, that quote unquote pro-black. It's just that I think when the Republicans, when the conservatives look at these numbers, Donald Trump is in the total tank, and they're desperate.
I was in this moment, and that's one of the reasons why it's so great to have one of my professors participating in this discussion with me. And just before we bring on Representative Pearson, who definitely represents the next generation of leadership in our community, and if there's anything that we can impart with our wisdom to a young brother, this is one of the brothers, if not the brother, who can carry it. I want to share with you this, that the reaction to my father's campaigns and the Rainbow Coalition was Jerry Falwell and Robertson.
Right.
And they found a young cat named Ralph Reed to lead something called the Christian Coalition. We were building a Rainbow Coalition at the exact same time that they had inaugurated the idea of the Christian Coalition, as Reverend Jackson sought to reach out to farmers and to people from different walks of life to build a political coalition that could right direction, if you will, change the trajectory of the United States, of the very coalition that he spoke about in 1984 and 1988. The evangelicals were organizing in reaction to Jesse Jackson by starting something called the Christian Coalition. And they began organizing conservative evangelicals around the opposite of every single thing that we stood for. I see, to your point, that the reaction to Barack Obama, the reaction to the high point or the high moment, the high success of Second Reconstruction, is this equal and opposite reaction that is manifesting itself right now in the dismantling of the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Elements of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 are also being dismantled. There's even talk now about dismantling the public accommodations legislation so that no one has to have any guilt about not having Black folks or people of different walks of lives into their public or private establishments. And Brown versus the Board of Education is on the table. When we come forward, I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Our very special guest will be Dr. Wilmer Leon, and Representative Justin Pearson will be joining us when we come forward.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, host of The Voice of Reason, weeknights at 7 p.m. here on KBLA Talk 1580, with a personal invitation for you to join me and Insight.me as we present The Healing Box, live at Inglewood's world-famous Miracle Theater, Saturday evening, May 23rd at 7 p.m. Look, I understand your attachment style has been running your life like a rogue algorithm, and nobody has had the courage to press pause. Until now, Dr. Pakoya McCall and yours truly are curating a night where clinicians, spiritualists, and an all-star panel of Black woman healers like Dr. Shalonda Sunshine Crawford, Dr. Jashana Johnson, and spiritualist Precious McGill will join some amazing spoken word artists and the legendary comedian Louis Dix to diagnose, disrupt, and heal your relational wreckage in real time. Listen, bring your trauma. As a matter of fact, bring your baby mama. No, bring your testimony. And if you're still texting your ex at 2 a.m., baby, you're not just invited, you're the target demo. Tickets are moving fast, so grab yours at themiracleinglewood.com before your dating history gets flagged as a pre-existing condition. That's themiracleinglewood.com. We'll see you there Saturday, May 23rd at 7 p.m.
It's game day. Are your moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keeping you from the action? Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, could help you get back to the game. Skyrizi is proven to help people feel significant symptom relief, achieve remission, and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. Skyrizi is a prescription injection medicine for adults. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's or ulcerative colitis.
Control is everything to me.
Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's and ulcerative colitis combined. Learn more at skyrizi.com or 1-866-SKYRIZI.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
An official message from Medicare.
I turned 65 this year. I knew it was time to figure out Medicare, and I had questions, like when to enroll and how to enroll. So I went straight to the official source, Medicare.gov, to get the facts about Medicare. I found answers to all my questions, and I'm ready to get started. And so can you. Just go to Medicare.gov to get the real facts about Medicare.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. Dr. Wilmer Leon earned his BS degree in political science from Hampton Institute, a master's in public administration from Howard University, and a PhD in political science from Howard University. Dr. Leon, welcome forward to the show.
As always, appreciate you bringing me back.
I also want to acknowledge, and I recognize that he may be in a bit of a time crunch, but I'm glad that he's with us. The Honorable Justin J. Pearson is Tennessee State Representative, community organizer, and advocate for social and environmental justice. As the Democratic representative for the 86th District in Memphis, Tennessee, Representative Pearson is a dedicated leader in the environmental and social justice movements. He's the co-founder of Memphis Community Against the Pipeline, a Black-led environmental justice organization that successfully defeated plans to build a crude oil pipeline through their community. He is also the co-lead and strategic advisor for the Poor People's Campaign, the national call for moral revival, an organization advocating for the rights of low-income people across the country, led by the Reverend William Barber. Representative Pearson, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Thank you so much. It's always a blessing to be with you.
Representative Pearson, I'm so grateful that you're here. And I appreciate you being here with one of my great professors and mentors, Dr. Wilmer Leon. Representative Pearson, the 9th Congressional District of Tennessee has been profoundly impacted by the Louisiana versus Calais decision. Dr. Leon and I have had previous conversations about the catastrophic nature of what the Louisiana case represents. But in the state of Tennessee, a seat that you are presently running for, the context could not be more clear. Representative Pearson, will you please take your time and share with us where we are tending and where we are and what we can expect in other states around the union as a result of the collapse of the Voting Rights Act of 1965?
Absolutely. Immediately after the Supreme Court gutted Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act in its Calais decision, the state of Tennessee was forced and pushed by the President of the United States, U.S. Senator Marsha Blackburn, to hold a special session to take away the only Black majority district in the entire state, which is District 9. This is the same district and the only district that has ever sent a Black person to the United States Congress, that being Harold Ford Sr. and Harold Ford Jr. And now I'm running for the United States Congress in District 9, and they are literally right now working to crack the district into 3. We received some maps that kind of like a coloring book, not real maps. We don't have precinct by precinct data, but they break the district into 3, nearly into thirds, to dilute the power of the Black community in particular. And to your point, the consequences for this cannot be overstated. The reality is we are going to lose at minimum 12 seats in the United States Congress that are currently in Black majority districts within the next several days and weeks. After that, we will see up to 200 seats that are currently held by Black folks at the state House and the state Senate level be taken away, because these folks are looking to really cement white supremacy as the rule in our country. And when you have a white supremacist president of the United States, they find ways, even if they have to cheat, even if they have to steal, even if they have to rig the system to take control and to take power. I was just sitting in a committee and they're literally changing the law, the current law that says we cannot redistrict in between the decades. They're changing that law so that they can redistrict and take our representation and our ability to represent and select who we want to represent us away in Memphis and Shelby County. This is devastating. And we are fighting with all that we have and can. Tonight, we have a big rally with Stacey Abrams here in Nashville because too many people, including your father, fought and gave so much in order for us to have this right. And we can't let it go and let it be stolen from us quietly.
Dr. Leon, I only have 5 minutes of the representative's time, so let me allow you the opportunity to have maybe this final question of the representative.
No, go ahead. So I think when we boil this down to its base points, it's a matter of inclusion versus exclusion. And I take this from Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. Talking about the big tent and expanding the tent. And so people need to ask themselves, your political perspective irrelevant, your race, your ethnicity irrelevant. Are you for a more inclusive America, or are you for an exclusive America? And then when for voting rights, access to the polls, when someone tells me, well, we need voter ID. Okay, explain to me why, and then show me the evidence, the data to support your position. Are you solving a problem, or do you have a solution that's looking for one? I'll just make that point, and Representative Pearson, I'll throw it back to you.
I think that's absolutely what's happening here. What we're about to see is the greatest purging of Black political power since the end of Reconstruction. We are entering into a very clear period of retribution by white supremacists across our government, from the federal government to the state government, and we'll see this at the local government as well. And it's our responsibility to do what has been done before. We have to protest, we have to speak up, we have to fight back, we have to organize, mobilize, and activate. And that's what we're going to do in Tennessee, but particularly that's what we're going to have to do down here in the South.
Representative Pearson, as we prepare to let you go, what can we do to help you?
Yeah, thank you so much for the question. Go to votejustinj.com, join our movement and our work, because we are a movement for justice rooted in love, working to build this pluralistic democracy that we know is still possible. We're still in this fight. We are still running for Congress. We're still fighting to make sure that democracy doesn't just die and wither on a vine, but that we have people who stand up and speak up for it. And so go to votejustinj.com. Stay with us on this.
Representative Pearson, we love you.
I love you too.
And there's nothing you can do about it. Look forward to working with you and looking forward to you being back on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Please keep representing us, sir.
Absolutely. Thanks so much. God bless.
Thank you for your time. Dr. Leon, I was so looking forward to the opportunity of serving in the Congress of the United States with Justin, even if to serve in some kind of mentoring capacity, and an opportunity to learn from the brother, because he is so sharp. As you know, he came to national prominence along with Brother Justin Jones and a white colleague of theirs who happened to be female, when they were opposing gun legislation in the state of Tennessee after a number of these very public shootings. And his clarity on so many issues and the moral authority that he represents is a voice that we need at the national level. And I'm thinking in this moment that the overturning of Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act is literally stopping our most critical and most blessed voices from being on the floor of the institution that the Voting Rights Act sought to desegregate. It's one thing to desegregate schools. It's one thing to desegregate boards. It's another thing to desegregate corporate America, or to desegregate even private institutions. But it's another thing to desegregate the Congress of the United States and state legislatures. And the key to that, Dr. Leon, has been the Voting Rights Act of 1965.
Well, again, I go back to the point that I was just making. We just have to be very, very honest with ourselves and start asking some very fundamental questions. This is really not that complex. This is not that difficult. Are you for an inclusive America, or are you for Make America Great Again, which is actually a retrenching of America? That's taking us backwards. And I think if members of the caucus and other folks were to boil some of these things down to their base elements and to continue to ask these questions, then it might have it might resonate more clearly and easily with people. And again, when Donald Trump says we want free and fair elections, well, yeah, we all do. So show me the data that says that we don't have them right now. We need voter ID so that we can have free and fair elections. Show me the data, because the last time I looked at this, the number in terms of vote fraud that I saw was 0.00004. That says to me it's not happening. Show me the number of cases over the last 10 years where someone has been charged with the felony of vote fraud, because that is a felony. So show me, and that data should be very, very simple to research and pull up, Donald Trump. Show me how many cases have been brought. If you can show me 5 in 10 years, I'll apologize publicly and I'll vote for Donald Trump.
Let me ask you this question, Dr. Leon. I am surprised, and I know that I was part of the solution when I offered a constitutional amendment guaranteeing every American the right to vote, that when the Bush v. Gore decision was decided and they stopped counting Chads, if you will, in the state of Florida before they had counted all of the votes, and they determined that the person with the least popular votes became the winner because of the 270 electoral votes that were swung as a result of not counting all of the votes in Florida in favor of George Bush. I raise this question because neither Democrat or Republican ever addressed the fundamental question raised by Bush v. Gore, which was this. The court said that the right to vote in America is not fundamental and it is not in the Constitution. It is a state right, and that the states themselves are responsible for determining the rules and determining the ways in which elections are administered and the way in which they are conducted. Now, we claim and we boast being the greatest and maybe even the oldest democracy in the history of the world, the American experiment, but neither side has proposed the fundamental right to vote, and that the administration of elections in this democracy ought be centralized and protected, just like we have. An example I've been using on the program has been like the TSA. You can't get a bottle of water in 450 airports across the country because the standard is so high for aviation security. Why can't we have a national standard as high as the Constitution to defend our democracy, unless for nefarious purposes, keeping the system separate and unequal benefits certain forces within our body politic? Professor?
Well, you know, the court can seem to do whatever it contrives to do. To say that there is no national right to vote, then why does the 15th Amendment say that the right of citizens in the U.S. to vote shall not be denied by any state? Now, if there is no national right to vote, why does the 15th Amendment read as though there is? Now, I understand the difference between the right to vote and then granting the states the procedural power to conduct a vote. Those two things are separate. What the court did in Bush v. Gore was conflate the two, and they were wrong. As they're wrong now. They're just flat out wrong, and that is because there's an agenda that they're trying to accomplish or trying to protect.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to Worldwide with Dr. Wilmer J. Leon, political scientist whose primary expertise is Black politics and American government. More when we come forward right here on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Black Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson is in Springfield pushing for city funding and still trying to keep the Bears in Chicago.
It's the most economically sound as well as economically stable idea for the Bears to remain in Chicago.
Johnson says the lakefront is the best and most financially sound location for the team, despite the Bears considering Arlington Heights and Hammond, Indiana. Black Virginia State Senator Louise Lucas is at the center of an FBI corruption probe. Multiple reports say agents raided her Portsmouth office and a nearby cannabis dispensary she co-owns. At least 3 people were detained during the searches. And tickets are now on sale for the Obama Presidential Center on Chicago's South Side. The center opens on Juneteenth, and officials expect weekend and summer dates to sell out fast. Tickets are available at obama.org. The Obama Foundation is a nonprofit collaborator of the Black Information Network. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Now at Big O Tires, save up to $170 on select sets of tires with paid installation using your Big O Tires and service credit card. Plus, synthetic oil changes start at just $39.99 through May 24th at Big O Tires.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
It is painfully obvious that the Lakers need much more than a productive LeBron to beat the Oklahoma City Thunder. LeBron was the only highlight for the Lakers in their 108-90 loss Tuesday night to OKC in Game 1 of the Western Conference semifinals. LeBron had a game-high 27 points and 6 assists. The rest of the Lakers were no-shows. Austin Reeves made only 3 of 16 shots. Marcus Smart was 4 of 15. Luke Kennard played 29 minutes off the bench, but made only 1 of 4 shots. DeAndre Ayton had 10 points, but he was scoreless in the second half. In addition to the shooting issues, the Lakers committed 17 turnovers. This is not the right formula to beat the defending NBA champs. OKC takes a 1-0 lead in the best of 7. Game 2 is Thursday night in OKC. A major upgrade in performance needs to happen for the Lakers if things are going to be different in Game 2. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Our voices aren't the minority opinion. They're the American conscience. This is KBLA Talk 1580.
This is America. We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, aka the Voice of Reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the Voice of Reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
My perfect day has sand, salt water, and friends. But my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can take me out of the moment. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, most people saw 90% clearer skin, and many were even 100% plaque-free at 4 months. Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Getting around LA doesn't have to cost a lot. Metro has fares that fit every budget. 20 free rides for qualified riders through the Life Fare program. Free passes for students with GoPass and affordable options for everyone in between. Wherever you're going, Metro's got you covered. Visit metro.net/fare programs.
I need a little range, step to the range.
There's a new flavor in town, the Jalapeno Ranch Club at Chick-fil-A. With that juicy Chick-fil-A original spicy or grilled chicken, a buttermilk ranch bun, candied bacon, pepper jack cheese, and jalapeno ranch sauce. It's got big ranch vibes with a little heat. Chick-fil-A's new Jalapeno Ranch Club, available for a limited time only. Order ahead on the Chick-fil-A app.
When did watching TV go from a way to relax to a complicated chore? Well, if you're sick of huge cable bills or endlessly searching for the show everyone's talking about, then welcome to Philo. Philo's the streaming service that respects both your time and your wallet, without needing to cut the stuff you actually love to watch. This means live TV for more than 70 channels like Hallmark, History, A&E, and Lifetime, plus a huge library of blockbuster movies and classic shows, and an easy-to-use unlimited DVR that lets you save anything you want and skip all the ads when you watch. The best part? You get all this for just $25 a month when you sign up at Philo.tv. No hidden fees, no long contracts, just a genuinely great deal. And new users can try it completely free for 7 days. So head to philo.tv. That's philo.tv and experience a better way to TV. Subscriptions auto-renew at monthly rate plus applicable taxes. Cancel anytime. See terms at philo.tv.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Folly, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. Our very special guest, Dr. Wilmer J. Leon, PhD. He's a political scientist with an expertise in Black politics, American government, and public policy. Dr. Leon, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
A pleasure to stay with you, man.
Dr. Leon, let me pivot for a second from the right to vote to the Gaza Strip and the Strait of Hormuz. Very quickly, before I ask the question, I want people who are riding on the 405, the 101, the 5, the 110, the 118, if you're driving on Ventura or Sepulveda or Gardenia or the Hills, to understand that your right to vote doesn't just elect African American or female or LGBTQ elected officials. Your right to vote, since you only have one right to vote, brings you into the conflict in the Gaza Strip, and it also brings you into the Strait of Hormuz. It brings you into issues of affordability because you have one vote, and that one vote is either an informed vote or is an uninformed vote. You might only be concerned about something that you see in your neighborhood, but that one vote is so powerful that it has the power to turn the direction of battleships, to fight for a world of peace, to stop a $1.5 trillion military budget, and to use these resources, as Martin Luther King Jr. articulated and argued, for domestic programs at home that benefit your community. Abraham Lincoln said, if you just give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, I will spend the first 4 hours sharpening the axe. Think about that. If you told me you got 6 hours to chop down this tree, I would tell you that the first 4 hours aren't going to be swinging, and there's a lot of swinging going around. I would use the first 4 hours to sharpen the axe because I can cut the tree down in 2 hours if I just have a sharp axe. Doc, can we start with the Gaza Strip and work our way to the Strait of Hormuz and share with us the consequences and the ramifications of where we are and what I believe to be true, that the United States, with the new one-page memo that's being offered as some kind of solution to the crisis, doesn't address even a tenth of what Donald Trump wanted out of the conflict, and some are calling it a great American defeat. Dr. Leon?
I think the math on this Gaza issue is very, very, very simple. And the question is, where do you stand on genocide? You're either for it or against it. This is, folks, this is not nearly as complex as the mainstream media and a whole lot of politicians that are getting a whole lot of money from the American Israeli Political Action Committee want you to believe. It's not that complex. We don't have to go back to the Bible and God gave his chosen people. No, we don't even know. Where do you stand on genocide? Because what has happened is a moral question has been co-opted to become a political issue. See, we can negotiate politics. We can negotiate borders. We can negotiate sovereignty. Really, you can't, but I'll just put that. We can negotiate access to minerals We can negotiate currency and the valuation of currency. Is oil going to be valued on the dollar? Is the dollar going to be valued on gold? Do we create a petrodollar? We can negotiate politics, but you can't negotiate your morality.
Non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable. What are you about, man? What do you stand for? Gregory Meeks, what do you stand for? Hakeem Jeffries, what are you about? What do you stand for?
Yes.
Kamala Harris, where is your moral compass?
Yeah. Let me share with you something very quickly, and then I want you to finish that thought. I spent and raised over the course of a 6-month campaign in 3 different polls that I conducted, in at least 3 polls conducted by my political opponents. I was leading the race for 6 months. On January 1st, the American Israeli Political Action Committee began running ads for a candidate, positive ads, introducing that candidate in my congressional district that I was seeking the office in, which would have allowed me, coincidentally, to have the opportunity to potentially serve with Justin Pearson. $250,000 a week on broadcast television, plus radio. By the end of the campaign, I had raised under $300,000, and my opponent was provided $7.5 million in a congressional district that when I ran in 1995, there were 4 Jewish synagogues. Today in that congressional district, there are 2 in southern Cook County, just 2, a diminishing Jewish population. And yet they saw fit to spend $7.5 million in a district where there are fewer Jewish people than there were when I ran in 1995. And you simply cannot compete with the kind of resources that Dr. Leon is suggesting are being used. And they are occurring at the very moment that we need to be defending the Voting Rights Act of 1965, which is part of our Exodus experience from slavery, from 1619 until the Emancipation Proclamation, more specifically until the 13th Amendment of the Constitution, and the ongoing consequences and ramifications of all of that through first Reconstruction and through Jim Crow. Doc, does that make sense to you?
Well, yeah, it makes perfect sense to me when I understand the agenda that's at stake here. And folks, this isn't anti-Semitic
at all.
No, this is real politique. AIPAC ran an article in the New York Times, I think it was last April, where they said very clearly they're going to spend $100 million in the Democratic Party primaries, unseating incumbent Democrats. And when you look at where a lot of that money was spent, it was spent in races like Jesse Jackson Jr.'s. Now I know that wasn't the same time period.
Absolutely.
But it's right? So
almost $10 million of
why are they pouring money into our community elections? Why are they pouring their money, interfering into our politics? And more important than that, why aren't our members of the CBC screaming at the top of their lungs about interference? Because that's what this is.
Absolutely.
How much money did they put up against you?
$7.5 million. Hard money and the rest of it in dark money, and $1 million in the last week. And when I saw these social media ads about me, I did not recognize myself by the time it was over. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're worldwide with Dr. Wilmer Leon. More when we come forward right here on KBLA Talk 1580.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
My name is Cynthia Mitchell. I've been an emergency room nurse in Los Angeles County for 25 years. I've been there through every fire season, every outbreak, every earthquake. Every time Los Angeles needed us, the doctors and nurses of Los Angeles County showed up. And right now, I'm seeing another disaster coming. Trump's cuts to Los Angeles County's healthcare system are a public health crisis in the making. Medi-Cal, public hospitals, disaster preparedness are all at risk, but we can stop it. Measure ER fights back against these cuts. For a half a penny, we keep emergency rooms open, care within reach for working families, and doctors and nurses serving the communities we love. When you vote yes on Measure ER, you're not just voting for healthcare, you're voting for LA. Vote yes on Measure ER by June 2nd.
Ad paid for by Yes on ER, Restore Healthcare for Angelenos, sponsored by St. John's Community Health and Health Justice Action Fund. Ad committee top funder, St. John's Community Health.
My name is Tyrone Owens, and this is my home for 23 years that burned in the fire. Me and my wife, Charlene, we had this whole yard decorated every year.
This was the house that sparkled throughout the entire neighborhood on all the holidays. It's a community that will never be the same due to the negligence of the utility company. So I am pretty upset about that.
We were nowhere near being able to rebuild with our insurance. It's going to cost $1 million to put your house back up.
I want to get back to that point where we were before the fire. I'm starting to get emotional, but I'll work through it. LA Fire Justice has been wonderful for us. They're just caring people. We have all faith in them.
Big ups to LA Fire Justice, who's given us hope to rebuild 100%.
Advertisement. Douglas Foster, 221 East Walnut Street, Suite 100, Pasadena, California, 91101 is the attorney responsible for this ad.
LA Fire Justice is proud to sponsor Conversation Live, Altadena Rising with James Farr on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 joins you in standing for voting rights. The midterm election campaign season is here now. The 2028 presidential election is right around the corner. When We All Vote is a leading national nonpartisan initiative on a mission to change the culture around voting and to increase participation in each and every election by helping to close the race and age gap. Created by Michelle Obama, When We All Vote brings together individuals, institutions, brands, and organizations to register new voters across the country and advance civic education for the entire family and voters of every age to build an informed and engaged electorate for today and generations to come. When We All Vote empowers their supporters and volunteers to take action through voting, advocating for their rights, and holding their elected officials accountable. It's all in for 2026 and 2028. Please visit whenweallvote.org to stand up for your rights, voting rights. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-515-4493, 800-515-4493, 800-515-4493.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. These are hard times for housing in America. Too many in our community face barriers to safe housing, behavioral health care, and affirming spaces for healing, particularly those impacted by poverty and stigma or incarceration. Rooted in South LA, Ahmad supports impacted communities through housing, wellness, and leadership development. Ahmad provides culturally responsive, peer-led support from transitional housing and mental health services to leadership development and youth empowerment. They offer safe, affirming houses for youth, transgender women, and formerly incarcerated individuals. Therapy and peer support with a focus on healing trauma in Black communities. HIV prevention and care, free testing, education, and wraparound services for whole person wellness. Standing in the gap with health, housing, and hope. Reach out to Ahmad Institute at 323-569-1610. That's 323-569-1610. Or visit amaad.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Quality drops the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download that.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. We are joined in this hour with and by Dr. Wilmer J. Leon III, political scientist, public policy expert, American government and Black politics, with expertise in these particular areas, and also mentor and a great friend. Dr. Leon, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
A pleasure staying with you.
Where, Dr. Leon, are we in Iran at this hour, and how catastrophic is this for the President of the United States?
Oh, it is horrific. It is catastrophic. Where are we? We are right now getting our hind parts kicked. That's where we are. And look, that's not my opinion. Washington Post today. Iran has hit far more U.S. military assets than reported. Imagery published by Iranian state-affiliated media and verified by the Post shows damage to 228 structures or pieces of equipment at U.S. military sites. The U.S. is getting pounded. And when Donald Trump comes and says Iran wants a deal, no, he's projecting his interests and his look. Last June, when the U.S. and Israel attacked Iran, and then there was the ceasefire was called. That wasn't called by Iran. That was called by Israel. Why? Because they're getting their hind parts kicked. And the Western media isn't publicizing that, but that's what's happening. And unfortunately, there was no entry plan by the administration, so they don't have an exit plan. They don't have an exit strategy. And if you don't know where you're going, then any road will get you there. So they expected that Iran would capitulate. But what that demonstrates is they know nothing about the culture. They know nothing about the people. If you think that Iran is going to surrender, you are drunk, you are high, and you are flat out tripping, because you have no idea of what these people are about.
Doc, my sense is that the president's so-called one-page memo, which by comparison to the Obama administration's 159-page thoughtful anti-nuclear development or enrichment program for the Iranians, suggested that Barack Obama had taken into account the proximity of U.S. bases and U.S. assets to the threat that Iran truly represented in the region, and those soldiers and men and women who would be in harm's way if, in fact, the conflict had developed any further. It seems now that we have lost ground from when President Barack Obama negotiated with the Iranians to where we are today, looking at a one-page deal and the possibility of a very, very quick exit strategy from Iran, because, as you've, I think, correctly stated, our hind end has been handed to us.
We have seen this movie before, and the end of the movie doesn't change. I may have said this on the show before. I'm a big Godfather fan. I'm a big fan of the film of 1 and 2. And every time the Sonny's standing in the kitchen and the phone rings and he answers the phone and he gets in the car and he drives out to the causeway, I keep yelling at the TV, "No, Sonny, don't go. No, Sonny, it's a trap." And every time I watch the film, I've been watching the film since 78. Sonny gets killed on the causeway. There were no weapons of mass destruction, boys and girls, in Iraq. That was a lie. There were no WMDs in Iraq, boys and girls. That was a lie. There is no nuclear program. There is no nuclear weapons program in Iran, boys and girls. That is a lie. And how do I know it's a lie? Because our director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, told me that. The 2026 National Defense Estimate, which they put out every year, told us there is no nuclear weapons program in Iran. So why are we attacking a country to prevent a weapon that they don't have, that they don't want, that they're not trying to build? It's a lie, Pete Hegseth. You are lying to us. Your mother told us you were a liar. Penelope Hegseth came out and told us Petey is a liar.
Dr. Leon, before we go, I've got to ask you, how can we support your work?
Man,
you're gonna play the dozens. You're gonna play the dozens.
His mother. No, it was in the New York Times. Petey's mother, Penelope, said, "Petey, you're a liar."
I don't know if we're going to get to a word of hope, but we'll get to a word of truth. Pete Hegseth is a liar, according to his mother. And of course, we still don't know the New York Times' effect on man, according to the Bee Gees. Anyway, Dr. Leon, how can we support your work? We have about 45 seconds.
You can tune into. Oh man, I make myself laugh. You can tune into my show Inside the Issues Saturdays from 11 to 2 on Sirius XM 126 Urban View. And folks, just read it. That's all I'm not making this up. This isn't secret. This isn't secret squirrel stuff. Morocco Mole didn't come and tell me this. Read it in the New York Times.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Dr. Wilmer J. Leon has been our very special guest in this hour. Dr. Leon, thank you for being with us.
All right, man.
Look forward to seeing you again in the future. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. In just a moment, we will have Todd Eury, Dr. S. Todd Eury, on the politics of our faith right here on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. More on KBLA Talk 1580 when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Black Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson is in Springfield pushing for city funding and still trying to keep the Bears in Chicago.
It's the most economically sound as well as economically stable idea for the Bears to remain in Chicago.
Johnson says the lakefront is the best and most financially sound location for the team, despite the Bears considering Arlington Heights and Hammond, Indiana. Black Virginia State Senator Louise Lucas is at the center of an FBI corruption probe. Multiple reports say agents raided her Portsmouth office and a nearby cannabis dispensary she co-owns. At least 3 people were detained during the searches. And tickets are now on sale for the Obama Presidential Center on Chicago's South Side. The center opens on Juneteenth, and officials expect weekend and summer dates to sell out fast. Tickets are available at obama.org. The Obama Foundation is a nonprofit collaborator of the Black Information Network. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Now at Big O Tires, save up to $170 on select sets of tires with paid installation using your Big O Tires and service credit card. Plus, synthetic oil changes start at just $39.99 through May 24th at Big O Tires.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
It is painfully obvious that the Lakers need much more than a productive LeBron to beat the Oklahoma City Thunder. LeBron was the only highlight for the Lakers in their 108-90 loss Tuesday night to OKC in Game 1 of the Western Conference semifinals. LeBron had a game-high 27 points and 6 assists. The rest of the Lakers were no-shows. Austin Reeves made only 3 of 16 shots. Marcus Smart was 4 of 15. Luke Kennard played 29 minutes off the bench, but made only 1 of 4 shots. DeAndre Ayton had 10 points, but he was scoreless in the second half. In addition to the shooting issues, the Lakers committed 17 turnovers. This is not the right formula to beat the defending NBA champs. OKC takes a 1-0 lead in the best of 7. Game 2 is Thursday night in OKC. A major upgrade in performance needs to happen for the Lakers if things are going to be different in Game 2. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
When the story gets twisted, who's going to tell the truth? When they cut the microphones, who's still talking? When history gets rewritten, who remembers what really happened? We do. KBLA Talk 1580. Black media isn't just important right now, it's essential. Because when mainstream outlets move on, we stay. When the headlines ignore our communities, we don't. When decisions are being made that affect Black lives in our schools, our neighborhoods, our economy, KBLA is in the room. This is more than radio. This is a lifeline, a record, a rallying cry. Black stories, Black voices, Black power.
The heat is on.
On the air and in the culture. KBLA Talk 1580. Stay connected. Stay informed. Stay loud.
Stand up!
Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm just looking forward to the Jesse show on KBLA 1580. I liken the construction of the United States and the periods that we have undertaken in its simplicity as framing a house. If you were building a house today, the first thing you would do is you would have a period known as pre-construction. That is, before you build the house, before you frame the house, before you buy 2x4s and drywall, you have plans. The pre-construction of the United States is part of this discussion. From 1619 to 1776, I refer to that as the pre-construction period. And to that extent, the Negro was here before the house was assembled and when the plans itself were being designed. Before most immigrants arrived on these shores, we were in the pre-construction phase of the United States. The Negro has something to say about that. From 1776, July 4th, 1776, the Declaration of Independence and the hypocrisy of all men, yes, all white men, with a friendly amendment from Elizabeth Cady Stanton, and women shall be created equal. The Declaration of Independence and its list of grievances, which are wildly reflective of the list of grievances that we have against our present president and monarch, Donald John Trump. The Declaration of Independence is part of the construction phase of the United States. Now it's time to build a house. So we build it on the principle, Dr. King said, of equality. All men, yes, and women with an expanded definition. Men includes I am a man too, 1968, Memphis sanitation workers. That is the construction phase of the United States. It includes the writing of the Constitution and the 3/5 clause. It includes the separation of powers between the federal government and states in 1791 with the addition of the Bill of Rights to the Constitution of the United States, and that ever too critical 10th Amendment, which says where the Constitution is silent or quiet on particular unenumerated rights, those rights belong to the states. And since the Constitution of the United States was silent on the question of slavery, the South took great privilege and delight in the idea that they could protect the peculiar institution of slavery without federal encroachment in their states. And from Virginia around to Texas, that was true. Part of the construction phase of the United States was like Noah's Ark, letting states into the Union to keep the balance in the United States Senate, to keep the balance in the House of Representatives. The only way a state can become part of the Union or a new territory part of the Union was to allow one free state and one slave state into the Union at the same time. And for those of you who are on the 405, the 101, the 5, the 10, the 118, or the 110, or you're driving on Ventura Boulevard in California, the California Act allowed your state to come into the Union under something called popular sovereignty. It was one of those states that chose not to support slavery, but it was brought into the Union with a slave state. And the idea, as the country moved from east to west, that California would be brought into the Union, it speaks to today's politics within the state of California very clearly, including the debate that we heard last night of the candidates running to be the next governor of the state of California. California has simply been, as a result of its position against becoming a slave state, one of the most progressive states in the Union. I can't blame people for trying to move to California because of the progressive nature of the state, from Los Angeles to San Francisco to other parts of the state that embrace people from different walks of life. Let's just call that the construction phase of the United States. And then with the election of Abraham Lincoln in 1860, from 1861 until 1865, let's call that the deconstruction. The house that you have built has now fallen apart. That's deconstructing the house. We've taken the house apart now. It has fallen apart. There are questions as to whether or not the house can ever be rebuilt again, because like Altadena, the house was on fire. And then Abraham Lincoln and the Gettysburg Address in 1863 and the Emancipation Proclamation and the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment began a period of first reconstruction. Are we going to reconstruct this thing for the first time? And that reconstruction included Black men having the right to vote and equal protection of the laws for the people and the end of chattel slavery, except, of course, if you have found yourself to be convicted of a crime at the federal or state level. The government, under the 13th Amendment, treats inmates and felons a little differently than it treats everyone else, save for the pardon power, which can restore a person's full rights, but is rarely exercised on our behalf. Let's just call that the reconstruction phase of a house that had burned down during the Civil War. And then there's this intermittent period from Plessy versus Ferguson, really the turn of the century in the 1900s, until Brown versus the Board of Education, known as Jim Crow. It's hard to imagine that the idea of Jim Crow has anything to do with building anything other than just kind of keeping the status quo the way the status quo was. So that's what Jim Crow essentially is. It's violent towards Black people and it's scapegoating towards minorities and others. So it is a very, very, very dangerous period until, of course, Brown versus the Board of Education offers us in 1954 the beginning of a new reconstruction, a second reconstruction. And I've read books written by William Barber and Peniel Joseph and others who've argued for a third reconstruction, and almost in every case, and I think the only person who really, really gets it is Reverend Barber, is that between periods of reconstruction, there's this period of Jim Crow. Michelle Alexander got it. I know I got it. And so with the dismantling of the Voting Rights Act of 1965, we are looking at what? The beginning of a new Jim Crow 2.0. That's exactly what it is. And how long it will last, I do not know. That it is here and upon us, there is no doubt in my mind that it is here. And what form it will take, I do not know. It's 2.0. Jim Crow Esquire is different than Jim Crow Sr. He's a different slick little guy. He looks like Pete Hegseth. He sounds like Donald Trump. People believe whatever it is that he says. And we ought to challenge that. How quickly we get to a third Reconstruction, again, I still don't know. It takes a Martin Luther King Jr. It takes national leadership. It takes organization to get there. We're going to talk about that on the Politics of Our Faith with none other than Dr. S. Todd Eury. When we come forward, I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. More on KBLA Talk 1580 when we come forward.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, host of The Voice of Reason, weeknights at 7 p.m. here on KBLA Talk 1580, with a personal invitation for you to join me and Insight.me as we present The Healing Box, live at Inglewood's world-famous Miracle Theater, Saturday evening, May 23rd at 7 p.m. Look, I understand. Your attachment style has been running your life like a rogue algorithm, and nobody has had the courage to press pause. Until now, Dr. Pacoya McCall and yours truly are curating a night where clinicians, spiritualists, and an all-star panel of Black woman healers like Dr. Shalonda Sunshine Crawford, Dr. Jashana Johnson, and spiritualist Precious McGill will join some amazing spoken word artists and the legendary comedian Louis Dix to diagnose, disrupt, and heal your relational wreckage in real time. Listen, bring your trauma. As a matter of fact, bring your baby mama. No, bring your testimony. And if you're still texting your ex at 2 a.m., baby, you're not just invited, you're the target demo. Tickets are moving fast, so grab yours at themiracleinglewood.com before your dating history gets flagged as a pre-existing condition. That's themiracleinglewood.com. We'll see you there Saturday, May 23rd at 7 p.m.
It's game day. Are your moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keeping you from the action? Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, could help you get back to the game. Skyrizi is proven to help people feel significant symptom relief, achieve remission, and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. Skyrizi is a prescription injection medicine for adults. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's or ulcerative colitis.
Control is everything to me.
Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's and ulcerative colitis combined. Learn more at skyrizi.com or 1-866-SKYRIZI.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
An official message from Medicare.
I turned 65 this year. I knew it was time to figure out Medicare, and I had questions, like when to enroll and how to enroll. So I went straight to the official source, Medicare.gov, to get the facts about Medicare. I found answers to all my questions, and I'm ready to get started. And so can you. Just go to Medicare.gov to get the real facts about Medicare.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Folly, Folly, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show and the Politics of Our Faith with Reverend Dr. S. Todd Eury. Dr. Eury is the principal of the Eury Firm, a Maryland-based litigation and government relations firm, and also serves as the senior pastor of the Douglas Memorial Community Church of Baltimore and affiliates. Dr. Eury, also former chief executive of the Rainbow Push Coalition, the organization founded by my father. He has served on the board of the National Action Network, has worked with the Maryland State Conference, NAACP, and is a co-founding principal of Community Churches for Community Development, Inc., and the founding principal of SALT, the Strategic Advocacy and Legislative Think Tank. Dr. Eury, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Always good to be with you, my brother. You're setting it up. I can already tell. This is how we're gonna start today. So I got a little prelude. I did.
That's right. I had to line it up for you, Doc. Doc, the South will rise again is a phrase rooted in post-Civil War lost cause ideology, symbolizing a desire to return to pre-Civil War societal structures. While its exact origin is unknown, it is popularized by white supremacists, politicians, and writers in the late 20th and now the 21st century, rather than a single person. Jefferson Davis said, "The principle for which we fought and contend during the Civil War is bound to reassert itself, though it may be at another time and in another form." When we look at maps of the Voting Rights Act post-Civil War, the 15th Amendment, the Voting Rights Act of 1965, and we look at Benny Thompson and earlier on our program, Representative Justin Pearson running for Senate in the 9th District of Illinois, we see the anxiety and hear the anxiety in other members of Congress like Emanuel Cleaver and Cleo Fields, and there's talk about redrawing the congressional district in South Carolina of Jim Clyburn and eliminating congressional districts in potentially North Carolina and other states. Dr. Eury, has the South risen again in another form?
In some ways, the resistance in the South has, except in this form. The Supreme Court has served as the foil. If we think about the Calais decision, if we think about the UNC and Harvard decisions of past Supreme Court sessions, if we think about Shelby v. Holder, 2013, this has not been a populist movement as much as it has been legal maneuvering. And so it is, I think, the court's rulings that kind of sets the stage to see whether or not this is the South rising. And the way we will know that is the midterms are coming. As you have laid out the history, the fly in the ointment continues to be the historical outcome that they cannot revise. The North won the war. And in winning the war, President Lincoln, in some ways, I think he was right to set forth, there's some expectations. If you're going to rejoin, you have to ratify the 13th Amendment. Is it perfectly written? No. But in terms of removing chattel slavery, you point out the notable exception that is in the amendment itself. But also the Civil Rights Act of 1866, which comes up the year after, which is really the template for what becomes the 14th Amendment. It is at that point the language that says Blacks are equal to whites expressly in the law, panic breaks out. And you begin to see this concerted effort over the days since, with the opportunity that was seized with the Compromise of 1877 after the 1876 presidential election to remove the troops from the South. And then the decisions from the Supreme Court with the civil rights cases in 1883. And then we see the formalizing of Jim Crow as kind of the institution. Then we see Plessy v. Ferguson. We can track where this goes. If we look at how the resistance has tended to rise, there has always been some sort of declaration from the Supreme Court that created the pretext for that rising to occur.
Mm-hmm.
The test is going to be, what will the people have to say in the days to come?
You know, Dr. Uri, I was compelled by the producer of our show to watch one of the best movies I've ever seen on the subject in the time period, called The Free State of Jones. And maybe you remember in that movie, Matthew McConaughey played, he was a Confederate soldier who came back home and quickly identified that the working people of the state that he was in were actually providing the comfort and the support for the Confederacy, but were not the fundamental beneficiaries of what the outcome and the goal of the war was itself. And he began building in real ways an understanding, more than just a racial coalition, an understanding between the newly freed men, or the men who were fighting, men, women, and families who were fighting for their freedom, and helping poor whites, kind of like Ali, when Muhammad Ali says, I mean, Vietnamese have never called me the N-word. Why should I go over there and shoot a yellow man, a brown man who's never called me what y'all call me here at home on y'all's behalf? They seem to have come together around the idea that they were both being abused by the same people, and that a game was being played that manipulated them and their thinking. Is it your sense that even beyond the history, which you know better than I do, that such a coalition in this heightened state of polarization can emerge, where we actually identify with each other, that we are in the same place, fighting the same forces together, albeit I might be fighting it differently than someone else? I feel like we're in a kind of Free State of Jones moment. Dr. Uri?
Potentially, depending on how we frame it. There has been a concerted effort to scapegoat DEI for the plight of poor whites. That somehow or other, the inability to make a competitive wage is somehow a byproduct of affirmative action like programs where someone who is deemed to be unqualified, forget what the language actually says in the law, that somehow or other someone else is exploiting their advantage to your harm. Here's why I say it depends. There are certain outcomes in this moment where we're all affected equally. Gas prices, energy costs, right? Those aren't byproducts of DEI. Those are byproducts of capitalistic greed. When we look at the inability to get health care, that's not because of DEI. It's because the administration has said that health care is not important, that Medicare for seniors, Medicaid for poor people is not on the administration's agenda. That's not because of DEI. And so if we frame it as we have learned, and I've thought a lot about your father's words over these many days, if we make this clear that this is an economic fight, the politics of this moment is about the economic wherewithal of the country. That's why they are gaming the redrawing of maps and eliminating districts, because ultimately, if you're going to have a guy who decides he wants to take a public sector job that makes about $500,000 a year, requires that he live in public housing for which he should otherwise be prohibited because of his conviction history, and he does so with a kind of reckless disregard, there's a reason for that. When the U.S. budget, somewhere $6-7 trillion a year, allows for the president to advocate for interests, private interest, that accrue against the wider interest for the masses. That's why he's doing it. He is doing a literal redistribution of the nation's wealth capacity to suit a whim. And if we're clear, the coalition needs to be built around the economic interest. That was Bacon's rebellion. They recognized it was an economic interest. And when we found common economic interest, that's when race as this fiction that got raised ended up being the tool that was used to break up the coalition, us versus them. It was the obvious outcome. Now, if we take up your father's advice and we visit Appalachia and some of those other places in the Deep South that continue to suffer from the economic harms of the elite class that continue to make a lot of money, even in the midst of this Iran war and gas prices getting higher and higher by the day, I think we then find the wherewithal, the fuel that gets us beyond the petty differences that are really based on fiction and talk about the things that really do unite us, which is, what does it really cost to be an American in 2026? Well, it depends on not what color you are. It depends on how much capital influence you actually have.
I really, really like that, Dr. Uri, and I want to explore it to the point of getting myself in trouble potentially on the radio. Let me give you a hypothetical that's part fact-based. You are a white supremacist. That's not what the signs said in 1968 on April 3rd and 4th. They said, "I am a man." And that wasn't disputable. What a message. I am a man. Can you at least acknowledge that I am a man? Fantastic messaging in that time and in that space. I'm thinking in this moment, when I was in college, we marched in Forsyth County, Georgia. And you remember Oprah did one of her shows from there, and she was quite surprised as well by the behavior at the time that they did that show. But I'm thinking, if I walked through or marched through a deep red county like a Forsyth County in the 80s, and maybe even a Forsyth County today, that's how long it's been since we've been back there. And the sign read, "I am not your problem." Today, you and I are both paying too much in gas prices. Today, you and I can't afford to live as true-blooded Americans. Today, you and I are struggling to provide health care for our families and put food on our tables. Together, today, we are united in this common struggle so that my children and your children can have the same opportunities. If I framed the message marching through Forsyth County today saying, I want to be your brother, or I want to be your sister in this struggle to make life better for everybody, that to me, Dr. Uri, is a different message than me looking at white folks in Forsyth County and saying, y'all need to get over being white. like telling me to get over racism or get over slavery or get over being a Negro. Doc, I know we're going to have a broader conversation about this when we come forward, but I'm trying to get to democratic or any kind of messaging that works in bringing people together. Our producer tells me that I have a minute before we come forward. Maybe I'll let you take an initial shot at it. Dr. Uri? Oh, Dr. Uri, I'm sorry. My bell has just been rung. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. More with Dr. S. Todd Uri. I'd like his response to our hypothetical on messaging when we come forward on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show and the Politics of Our Faith with Dr. S. Todd Uri. More on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. The U.S. and Iran are reportedly close to a memorandum aimed at ending the war. President Trump says he's confident a deal can be reached, but warned bombing could resume if talks fail.
They want to make a deal. They want to negotiate.
Meanwhile, the U.S. has paused Project Freedom, which helped guide vessels through the Strait of Hormuz. Black Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass is facing a federal lawsuit from Los Angeles Fire Department Union President Freddie Escobar. He accuses Bass and the city of retaliating against him after he criticized the fire department's lack of resources during the Palisades fire. The lawsuit claims city officials spread misleading statements suggesting Escobar was under investigation for overtime abuse. And the Trump administration is suing the New York Times for alleged racial bias against a white male employee. The Equal Employment Opportunity Commission claims the Times failed to promote him because of his race and gender. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Now at Big O Tires, save up to $170 on select sets of tires with paid installation using your Big O Tires and service credit card. Plus, synthetic oil changes start at just $39.99 through May 24th at Big O Tires.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
It is painfully obvious that the Lakers need much more than a productive LeBron to beat the Oklahoma City Thunder. LeBron was the only highlight for the Lakers in their 108-90 loss Tuesday night to OKC in Game 1 of the Western Conference semifinals. LeBron had a game-high 27 points and 6 assists. The rest of the Lakers were no-shows. Austin Reeves made only 3 of 16 shots. Marcus Smart was 4 of 15. Luke Kennard played 29 minutes off the bench, but made only 1 of 4 shots. DeAndre Ayton had 10 points, but he was scoreless in the second half. In addition to the shooting issues, the Lakers committed 17 turnovers. This is not the right formula to beat the defending NBA champs. OKC takes a 1-0 lead in the best of 7. Game 2 is Thursday night in OKC. A major upgrade in performance needs to happen for the Lakers if things are going to be different in Game 2. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Follow the leader.
KBLA Talk 1580.
Follow the leader.
If you're not following KBLA Talk 1580 on all of our socials, then you're missing out. Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcasts of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Got your black.
Follow the leader.
Oh my God.
Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
When temperatures climb, LADWP wants to help you stay cool indoors, starting in your attic. With quality attic insulation, your home can stay more comfortable during hot summer days and help lower your energy bills year-round. It's a smart way to save. And for a limited time, LADWP has increased the attic insulation rebates to make upgrading more affordable. Act now to start saving. Visit LADWP.com/attic. That's LADWP.com/attic.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio that's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
I'm Reverend Gerald, the life coach. Is someone you love struggling with addiction and mental illness? Is improving your family's health important? Want to leave a legacy that your family can grow? Are you ready to enhance your perception of life experiences? Then wake up weekends at 7 a.m. with Urban Family Focus and get the wisdom, opportunity, resources, and motivation to live your best life. Join the conversation on Urban Family Focus Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Getting around LA doesn't have to cost a lot. Metro has fares that fit every budget. 20 free rides for qualified riders through the Life Fare program. Free passes for students with GoPass and affordable options for everyone in between. Wherever you're going, Metro's got you covered. Visit metro.net/fare programs.
Progressive knows you could have easily taken the freeway, but you took the scenic route to see a waterfall and an oddly busy boiled peanut stand. Discovering the unexpected is exactly why you bought an RV, so protect it with a bundle from Progressive. Because although you may be 3 hours behind schedule, you're 6 jars of jam richer and possibly enrolled in a butter churning workshop. Switch to Progressive and protect your RV, boat, or motorcycle by bundling with your home or auto insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
When did watching TV go from a way to relax to a complicated chore? Well, if you're sick of huge cable bills or endlessly searching for the show everyone's talking about, then welcome to Philo. Philo's the streaming service that respects both your time and your wallet, without needing to cut the stuff you actually love to watch. This means live TV for more than 70 channels like Hallmark, History, A&E, and Lifetime, plus a huge library of blockbuster movies and classic shows, and an easy-to-use unlimited DVR that lets you save anything you want, skip all the ads when you watch. The best part? You get all this for just $25 a month when you sign up at Philo.tv. No hidden fees, no long contracts, just a genuinely great deal. And new users can try it completely free for 7 days. So head to Philo.tv, that's PHILO.tv, and experience a better way to TV. Subscriptions auto-renew at monthly rate plus applicable taxes. Cancel anytime. See terms at Philo.tv.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Farley drops the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580, the politics of our faith with Reverend Dr. S. Todd Yeary. But we are not alone, Dr. Yeary. Lynette Purple, Angel Alexander, Sharon Ashley, Lila Benson, Carolyn J. Ruff, and TJ Williams Hogger, and Barbara Jean are with us online. And I just can't wait. I almost can't wait. We're just finishing testing out the technology to be able to talk with all of you on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show and answer any and all of your questions. Dr. Yeary, the politics of our faith. Before the break, Reverend, I asked the question about messaging in a difficult county. I used Forsyth as an example. I don't know how you run for office looking at a significant portion of the electorate. And while I may acknowledge that white supremacy is a predominant ethos, it's not an ethos that gets a rural farmer or a rural mayor or a rural state representative who feels some kind of way about gasoline, feels some kind of way about fertilizer, feels some kind of way about the Strait of Hormuz, to voting for me. And those of you who may not see, are not watching our program on Facebook, and all those names I called out, please share the post. There's a map up that our producer Gina Towns has put up of the South, from Virginia around to Texas. Will the South rise again? Of the congressional districts that were drawn pursuant to the Voting Rights Act of 1965. And it is juxtaposed against a map where there was no Voting Rights Act of 1965, which was a deep red part of the nation from Virginia around to Texas. And the very problem that the Voting Rights Act sought to remedy, the first map that you will see, we have now returned to what the South would look like if, in fact, and because the Voting Rights Act has been dismantled, both Section 5 and now Section 2. Dr. Yeary, on this question of messaging, it's hard for me to go to Forsyth County, Georgia, been there, done that, and called everybody a racist and everybody's the Ku Klux Klan. But in order to get the 270 electoral votes and the kind of representation and the kind of democracy that we want, the messaging, to your point earlier, has to turn to gasoline. It has to turn to, I am a man, and that I want to raise my family in a safe and secure world and a better community just like yours, just to get there. Dr. Yeary, is that on message?
If it's not, it should be. Here's how I think we frame it. Number one, we have to talk about poverty as a human condition, not a color. If I'm hungry, it's because I don't have food. It's not because of how people see me socially. Homelessness is a condition. Joblessness is a condition. It's not a color. And so we've made these for lack of a better term, existential, right? Real world issues come down to a matter of appearance. And the government has played on the fears of folks who have fundamental conditions of just being human, as if somehow or other you can pit those who are struggling with the same conditions against each other because they're blaming each other. We don't have high homelessness rates because Black people don't like white people. We have high homelessness rates because the cost of housing one adult and one child far exceeds what the government has done to raise the minimum wage to a livable wage. That's a fundamental issue. I don't have issues with inadequate job training skills because somehow or other somebody took my spot. The reason I can't go to class is because I can't find affordable childcare. That's a condition. And so what we've taken is the context by which we live, united by a common struggle, trying to live with a sense of human decency and human dignity, committed to working and working hard, not taking anything for granted. And yet the government pretends that somehow or other it's our fault. And yet we'll ask for record budget allocations for the military, record cuts to what they call entitlements. Well, I wouldn't need an entitlement if you just affirmed my worth and got me above $7 and some change an hour. In some states, they still don't reach that level. And many of those states that don't reach that level, guess where they are? If you put that map back up, they're in the South. So if we don't have that kind of a credible conversation to say, look, I understand, I get it. Hunger, I get it. Homeless, I get it. You want to move up but can't, I get it. So this isn't us against them as in terms of the racial polarization. It is that when the top 1% control more wealth in this country than the other 99%, Houston, we have a problem. Right? All across the South. That's the conversation.
So Dr. Yeary, that was so compelling that you just earned my vote. And if Dr. Todd Yeary were running for president, delivering the message to me that way, I would say, man, that was so compelling that the character, the foresight that you brought to the conversation and the language that you specifically chose to deliver the message, I saw and felt in this moment, not only was it compelling, but it was unifying. Of the Democratic candidates who are running, most of whom are very bright, very sharp on policy, and I think there's almost a dozen of them running right now, or potential candidates. Are you impressed with anyone who's approaching the subject matter of bridging the gap between the urban and the rural, the Black and the white, consistent with I want to call it the moral dignity that you brought to an important economic conversation just a moment ago? Have you heard that yet?
I haven't heard it in terms of public speeches, but what I've also recognized is that the method by which we elect candidates now has become toxic because of two words: Citizens United.
Oh no, not that case. all that dark money.
Dark money, light money, they just spending all kinds of money, right? To get elected to high office now cost obnoxiously and offensively high amounts of money. So when I sit with a candidate, I'm not just looking at what their sound bites are. When my colleagues and I sit down with the candidate in a room where there are no cameras, and we actually have fundamental conversations about the strategy, now I can test what commitment you bring, because you can't always put it out in front. This is where I think the masses of people, when we got out of this corporations, the reason corporations start spending so much money is because they know that they don't have the numbers on their side. If we fund the campaigns $1, $2 like we funded the movement, we can counteract that kind of influence and get back to more open public conversations about the issues that matter.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580, The Politics of Our Faith, with Reverend Dr. S. Todd Yeary. More when we come forward right here on KBLA Talk 1580.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Michael's Daughter Foundation is dedicated to inspiring youth and resilience through storytelling, arts, filmmaking, and enrichment programs for youth and families in under-resourced communities and system-impacted individuals. The Michael's Daughter Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit providing free and low-cost arts programs to youth and families from under-resourced communities, both system-impacted youth and those affected by the incarceration of a loved one. 1 in 43 children in America have a parent incarcerated. 70% of those children are expected to end up in prison. Through filmmaking, animation, theater, and writing, they help young people express themselves, build confidence, and imagine new possibilities. Beyond the arts, they offer financial literacy workshops, emergency support, and scholarships. Because thriving takes more than talent, it takes access. To learn more about the impact of Michael Daughters Foundation and how you can be a part of the movement, please visit their website, michaelsdaughterfoundation.com. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
My name is Cynthia Mitchell. I've been an emergency room nurse in Los Angeles County for 25 years. I've been there through every fire season, every outbreak, every earthquake. Every time Los Angeles needed us, the doctors and nurses of Los Angeles County showed up. And right now, I'm seeing another disaster coming. Trump's cuts to Los Angeles County's healthcare system are a public health crisis in the making. Medi-Cal, public hospitals, disaster preparedness are all at risk. But we can stop it. Measure ER fights back against these cuts. For a half a penny, we keep emergency rooms open, care within reach for working families, and doctors and nurses serving the communities we love. When you vote yes on Measure ER, you're not just voting for healthcare, you're voting for LA. Vote yes on Measure ER by June 2nd.
Ad paid for by Yes on ER, Restore Healthcare for Angelenos, sponsored by St. John's Community Health and Health Justice Action Fund. Ad committee top funder, St. John's Community Health.
For 70 years, the Humane Society of the United States has worked to end animal cruelty. Now, we're continuing that mission as Humane World for Animals, because we work around the globe to care for animals who are suffering today. And we tackle the root causes of cruelty for a kinder tomorrow. We are Humane World for Animals, and together we can make a difference. Help make change for animals. Visit humaneworld.org.
What if your rooftop could earn you money every year? With LADWP's Solar Rooftops program, you can get solar panels installed and maintained on your home at no cost and earn up to $900 a year. That's up to $18,000 over 20 years. There are no upfront costs, no credit checks, and no annual fees. Plus, you'll help power Los Angeles with clean local solar energy and reduce reliance on fossil fuels. Make your rooftop work for you. Apply today at ladwp.com/solar rooftops.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Tired of being locked out of job opportunities and shut down by systemic racism? KBLA Talk 1580 stands with you in fighting for the rights of black workers, and we don't black down. The Los Angeles Black Workers Center is a dynamic alliance of workers, organized labor, community-based organizations, clergy, students, and scholars working collectively to improve the position of the black working class. The LA Black Workers Center takes a comprehensive approach to addressing the black jobs crisis. Their programs promote access to quality jobs, racial equity in hiring and retention, discrimination-free job sites, and they prepare black workers for employment in high-wage career track jobs. The LA Black Workers Center supports workers who need help protecting their rights on the job. They give workers access to quality jobs and remove systemic barriers to employment. And they are advocating for a fair deal for Black workers in the new Los Angeles City Charter. To sign up for free career readiness training, get involved in organizing, or learn about union apprenticeship programs and trade registries, please visit lablackworkercenter.org. That's lablackworkercenter.org. Together, we can beat the Black jobs crisis and build a more equitable Los Angeles. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
There is no denying that we've always been the conscience of this country. KBLA Talk 1580 is progressive talk radio built for our community, by our community, and with hosts who look like you, live near you, and care about what you care about. 50,000 watts of truth right here in Southern California. KBLA Talk 1580. Listen live on your AM radio dial at 1580 or stream us live on our KBLA1580.com website or on our free KBLA 1580 app.
Unapologetically progressive. Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Wally drops the beat. Come on and talk.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr.
Come on and talk.
On KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA.
We are in the politics of our faith with Reverend Dr. S. Todd Yeary. Dr. Yeary, welcome forward to the show.
You have been treading deep water, sir. That's all I got.
Well, hey, you are a life raft for our community at a time when that's exactly what we find ourselves in. Dad used to say, if you want to fish in shallow water, you'll catch small fish. But Jesus commanded us to go out there where the big fish were and cast our net on the other side of the boat. And on that side of the boat, there's no telling what we might catch. And there's a difference between catching crappie and bluegill on the top of the water and catching catfish and carp on the bottom with all them bones and stuff. Some of the best fish can be found in deep water, but they're not that deep. Dr. Year, let me ask you a question, and then obviously there'll be plenty of time for you to close with a word of hope. You brought up Citizens United. This is the case, and I'd appreciate it if you'd share with a little clarity for our viewers what it has done. But there was great criticism here in Illinois of Congressman Chuy Garcia, who, when he filed his nominating petitions, his chief of staff filed nominating petitions as well. And because he was the incumbent, no one was, quote unquote, running against Chuy. And then at the appropriate time, when the nominating process ended, Chuy Garcia withdrew his nominating petitions, leaving essentially his trusted chief of staff on the ballot as the potential future and only Democratic nominee in a heavily Democratic district, the 4th Congressional District of Illinois. Great criticism came from that little sleight of hand move, certainly undemocratic. But when I think and reflect upon Citizens United and the American Israeli Political Action Committee funding candidates with extraordinary amounts of money in picking leadership in minority communities, it may have been the best political play in the election cycle by guaranteeing that the voice of the people of that particular district would remain consistent with the leadership that he provided. And it was the easiest way to avoid the millions of dollars that could have been poured into that district, picking someone in that district largely based upon money from outside influences. Dr. Year, if you can walk us through Citizens United and provide us in this system a word of hope.
Well, short version is Citizens United basically says that corporations are persons under the law and they have a right to political speech. And how that speech gets expressed is how corporations support candidates. Now, while you cannot go directly to a candidate's campaign. You can spend on behalf of a candidate's interest through appropriate channels, and there are no caps. And so you now have this race to how much is it going to cost, and do I get somebody to advance my particular interest in serving by finding a mechanism for them to be able to funnel money necessary to compete for these offices, and certainly national offices are certainly the most expensive. We heard Senator Tim Scott in a clip I saw the other day. He was speaking at a conference. He says he expects this Senate cycle to be the most expensive in the nation's history. We don't even know what the House breakdown is going to look like, because now you have the posturing of the gerrymandering that's going on. And so when we think about how we navigate in this moment, the first rule of monopoly is know the rules. We don't like them, but if we don't figure out how to win with great wins in our face, the only way we get to change the rules is we got to elect people who will change the rules. We have to elect people who will confirm nominees to the high courts, not just the Supreme Court, but the trial courts and the appellate courts across the country, who are going to read the law with an informed awareness of the historical evolution of not only the law, but the supreme law of the land, which is the Constitution. So we got to have that conversation. We also have to have a conversation. Jesse, I believe this down to my core. We keep selling short the value of our participation. We keep saying our vote doesn't matter. And so I ran some numbers. I got to give a shout out to Bishop Dwayne Debnan, who pastors in Baltimore. His midweek Bible study today was to talk about the Calais decision and what it means for people of faith. As a panel, we're having this discussion. We know April Ryan is one of his parishioners, so I get it now. Absolutely. Go for it, girl. Do your thing. Because your pastor gets it. We got to have these conversations, but let's do some math. I was thinking about it while we were in Bible study. Yeah, Bible study that's practical. Who would have thought that was the case? There are approximately 258 million people of voting age in the United States. 226.4 million eligible voters. I'll let you figure out that delta. And then there are 204 roughly million active registered voters. So I said, if the annual US budget is $7 trillion, what is my vote worth as a part of that budget? Active registered voters, just doing simple math, just an argument. My vote has a value of about $35,000 per year against the federal budget. $31,000 if I'm eligible, $28,000 if I'm voting age. Multiply it by 4. We got to understand our value and then vote our values, because that's the rule that governs monopoly.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You've been listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show and the Politics of Our Faith with Dr. S. Todd Yeary. Dr. Yeary, how can we follow you on any of your socials very quickly?
Civil Rights Rev. Check it out on Facebook, on any of the social media platforms. And remember, Jesus saved your soul. I'm trying to save your behind.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You've been listening to the Politics of Our Faith with Dr. S. Todd Yeary. He has 1 foot in the pulpit and 1 foot in the courtroom. Jesus saved our souls, and he's trying to save our behinds. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. More on KBLA Talk 1580 when we come forward tomorrow.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.